The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Hello and welcome back to Joy with Julie. I'm so excited. Today we have Alysha St. Germain, owner and lead designer at Hello Pearl Interiors of Easton. Hi Alysha, welcome.
Hi Julie, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
So pumped to have you. I love creative types and I can't wait to jump in and talk more about joy. One thing we love to do here is just have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
Talk about some everyday things that happen, relatable things, and then we share how we live a life of optimism. Like, what are the strategies? What are the things? I love to give our audience some takeaways. So let's hop in.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love it so much.
So Alysha, I know that like me, you juggle all the things,
Yeah, totally.
right?
I do.
So in juggling all the things, right, we have the kids, we have to keep up a house, we work full time, you have your own business, right? And you opened up a storefront too.
I did on Main Street in Easton. I love it so much, right next to Bill's House of Pizza. It's so great.
So talk to me a little bit about what it is. I've been to your storefront. I've been to an event, actually 2 events there.
Yeah.
Right? The Secret Society dinner, I went to that for the launch, and then the open mic night that you did for our charity, We Do Care. Thank
That
you
was
so
so
much.
fun.
Yeah. I want to talk about the open mic a little bit because that is not something that's done around here locally, and that was so amazing to be there, right?
Yeah.
So we brought a bunch of people that weren't afraid to get on a mic.
Yeah.
Right?
It was so fun. I mean, the way that I operate typically when it comes to my creativity is all based on intuition. It's like, do I get a ping? And then do I have the courage to follow that ping, even if it's scary? And so that was how it felt with the Creative Open Mic Night. And it was like all of these connections that I had made like through the community because people had just popped into the store. They were ready and willing and so excited to help me bring this to life. And I just thought, hey, let's make it a space and an opportunity for like, you know, people to connect through like various age ranges with various types of creative pursuits, because there's so many people who don't think that what they're doing is actually a form of creativity. And so we had storytellers, we had musicians, we had an electric violinist, we had a live painter, we had a poet.
We had a 6-year-old that got up there and sang.
Okay,
right?
I thought she was 8, but she was 6.
She was so little.
Oh,
I
she
think
was so cute.
Oh my God, she was so brave.
Bridget.
And, yes,
Yes.
Bridget. And the painter was actually my favorite because
Really?
he was so shy at first, but he was incredibly talented. And then it was like it gave him an avenue to express his creativity, and that's so important.
Well, and I just think that people need feedback from other people. Like, they need permission. And so, like, that's kind of what I do, like, not only with interior spaces, but being a self-taught creative, right? Being someone who, like, discovered this later in life. It's like I had to personally give myself permission to pursue it, but also the people that were in my life stood alongside me and encouraged me by saying that what I was pursuing and what I was bringing to life had value.
Yeah,
and so
that makes sense.
I love doing that for other people.
So you said that you learned it later in life. So what did you think you were going to be when you grew up?
So I went to school for early elementary education.
Okay.
I got my degree in early elementary education with a bilingual emphasis, and I almost instantaneously knew that it wasn't for me. Not the teaching element. I love teaching, but the system of being in public education was not for me. I'm a very sensitive soul, and I couldn't kick it.
I get it. 22 years teaching public school in Boston Public.
And I
get
admire
it.
you so much for that.
I get it. And sometimes, the system goes against our,
what we're
our
actually
beliefs.
taught that we can do. Yeah, I just found that like everything that I was taught I could do in school, that once it came to actually teaching in the classroom, it was very different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that resonates. I love that you spoke about your intuition because I, too, have a strong intuition. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm around people that do things certain ways and they need things done certain ways, right? Like they have to plan a long time before they jump in. And I'm definitely I have a strong intuition and I just get downloads. Like I just get information.
Totally. Yeah, I call them pings.
Okay.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So I get information and then I just know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I have to lead with my heart and I have to follow that.
Yeah.
And that can be hard and scary, but like you have to do it.
Totally. You have to hone it over time because like as women specifically, it's being beaten out of us, you know, plus we're being inundated constantly with, you know, what's happening in the world and what's just the energies that are all around us. And so being able to connect with yourself and take the time to connect with yourself is so important. But until we know that that's a possibility, it's hard to get there. It's hard to know what that feels like to say yes based on what feels good at the time.
For sure. For sure. Speaking of which, we were at an event on Friday together, the Lionsgate portal. It was a small gathering, right, with women.
Yeah. And
about energy and abundance. And I wanted to just bring up something and see like what you thought about it. But so the thing that spoke to me most about being a human, right? So it could be for anyone.
Right.
I love how she explains certain things, but the one that like, I was like, oh, going back to ancestry, she said that she started us off with a chant, right? And we were singing, and then we ended with a chant. There was one in the middle, but she was talking about how hundreds of years ago, our ancestors used to sing. They used to sing with all the things. They used to sing with the harvesting. They used to sing with the weaving. They used to sing with all the things that they did, right?
Yeah.
Plus, they were outside in nature so much more. But by the end of it, when we were singing and some people were swaying, and I felt like, not overcome, but I just felt like the sense of peace, and I felt like I was among the people I was supposed to be with, doing what I was supposed to be doing. And why the heck aren't we doing more of this?
So true. Like it's like these natural things that we used to do, just like in community. We've just forgotten that we need to be together and that we need to be just doing life alongside each other to be seen and feel seen. And that's why I love the studio so much, because it's given me this space to actually help foster community. And the Creative Open Mic Night was one of those things. The Secret Society Dinner is one of those things. It gives people an opportunity to show up authentically, but like do so in a way that doesn't feel performative. Like we are all being screamed at every day to be this, do this, be perfect, show up this way, don't be late, don't do that, blah, 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 all of these things. And it's like, can we just be humans first?
I love that. And slow down, right?
Totally.
We're going too fast. We're going
But
so
it doesn't mean that we
fast.
can live our whole life in slowness. Like that would be totally and completely like, it wouldn't make sense. It just means that we need to take the pauses and the time to give ourselves the space to just exist and listen.
And tap in, right?
Yeah,
tap in, because
tap
we do
in.
have intuition. We do
Totally.
have that knowledge. So I'm thinking about your space, because the first few times I walked in there, what was most inviting to me is the living room area. You're walking into a space, and I don't know if someone, when they go in, if they're just thinking of it as a store, because it's not a store.
Yeah.
Like it is, but it isn't, right?
Right.
There's so many more things that you're bringing to it. But I love that you're totally cool with someone coming in and working on the puzzle and a place to sit and talk. And yes, you get ideas for your house, right? Yes, you can buy things for your house.
Yeah.
And you can hire you as a designer and all of those great things. But I love that you are bringing to our community a space that artists and musicians and the creative types can come alive and show what they do or connect with other people, right? Like-minded people.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that.
I love it so much. It's like, you know, again, like going back to the intuition and the ping, I think for so long, because I lived from like, you know, just from a place of feeling disconnected from myself and, you know, a lot of fight or flight, like we get overwhelmed, things are conditioned into us, like we're programmed in certain ways based on our upbringing and our experiences that we've had. You know, we share that shared loss piece. I lost my husband in 2013 and it was pretty tragic. He died of cancer. I was his caregiver for 15 months. And so like we share that, you know, and so I just knew that it was going to be more than just a design studio. And I had a ping, like I had a vision. I went to a retreat, I tuned in, the vision dropped in, and I knew that like this was something that I was going to create. Like my best friend likes to say, this or something better. And this is definitely the something better. It wasn't exactly what I envisioned, but like as people have stepped into it and they've given their like, you know, little magic, added their magic to it, and like we've combined our magic together, we've been able to create something so much better. Like had I had a stranglehold on it and been like, no, this is exactly what it needs to be, and there's no straying from that, we wouldn't be creating what we're creating now.
And it sounds like you trust the process.
I do now, because I just feel like I have spent so much time worrying about life in general that it just doesn't make sense to waste the energy.
So I was talking to someone yesterday who lived away and just moved back, and she was talking about a family member that worries all the time, and then she was saying, I don't have space for worrying anymore. And I was like, wait, what? Like,
yeah,
amazing for her, because anxiety was something that she got caught up in because of, like you said, the way she was programmed, because of who she was brought up by and how they were programmed.
Right.
And I know some people that worry a lot, and I'm just like, like I don't know how I could help them worry less. So I like that way of thinking.
It's just like until you experience the contrast and feel what it's like to not operate from that standpoint, you don't really know that it's an option to you, right? You don't really know that it's available to you. And so that has helped me tremendously, but also like, you know, energetic practices like Reiki. Like we have someone in the studio, Scott, you know him. He is a magician, and he has helped me so much. And he's helped me in this whole process to just keep my energy clear, to help me a lot, like be receptive to what's out there, whoever wants to collaborate, making sure that the decisions that I'm making along the way, that they're in alignment with what I want this to be, who I want to call in, all of those things. And so, you know, we can't do this alone. Like going back to the Lionsgate portal, right? Like we gathered in a group of women knowing that all of us had these specific strengths and had the ability to hold space in different ways.
Right.
And so like that's the goal, is if we are going to truly live in community, we need to understand that we all bring different things to the forefront.
And then we can piggyback off each other.
Exactly.
Off each other's strengths and talents. I love that. So I'm a Reiki practitioner too. I'm new to it, and I had to learn how to do it because I liked it so much. And it gave me such a good reset. And I like how you're bringing that up, because I think there's going to be a lot of our listeners that aren't aware of Reiki and don't know what it is and how it could benefit them. But I've been tapping into different healing modalities for a long time. I think as an empath, I learned late in life that to not be someone that has anxiety or depression or worry, like come my way, and to just feel like my best, I do need energetic healing and clearing.
Totally. And I think like the more that you experience life, and the more you experience, I guess experiences, you move through experiences that really challenge your perception of life, or like challenge your perception of safety or what it feels like to have control, you're just much more open to receiving and being being a recipient of all of those different energies, whether positive, negative, anxious, whatever it is. And so it's really important for us to take the time to help clear that, to feel good and feel grounded.
That's great. So I think about when things came together quickly for you, for the space that you chose and for opening up your Hello Pearl store and all that. And I know that from my experiences, I know I'm on the right track when things are easy. It doesn't mean it's completely easy, but when things are like, oh wow, like
right, there's like ease, like it feels like time is expansive. Right? It feels like you can get like all of these things done in like such a short period of time because it was meant to be. It was always meant to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I know from the people that I've met and people that talk to me and stuff, I feel like so many people right now are living in fear and are scared, and they're going about doing what they do because even though there's something else bigger for them, right? Like it's not this, they're not going for the or better.
Right.
They're just sticking with this.
Right.
So what do you have to say to people that want to go for the better,
Yeah.
Right? To not be scared and to like actually like make that jump. What do you think?
The thing is that you're not going to be scared. You're not going to not be scared. Like everything that you do, I think that is meant to be brought to life, or an idea that is inside of you, you're always going to risk being vulnerable. You're always going to risk people coming out and like judging you or coming against you or thinking that you're moving too fast or you're not thinking it through enough or whatever. There's always going to be people who have opinions. But if you know deep in your soul that this is meant for you, then if you just keep moving forward with that knowledge, then it's all going to work out. And we're always going to be scared whenever we step into a new endeavor, but that ultimate trust that it's all going to come together in the way it's meant to is like, yeah, it's just something that you honestly have to live to hone. And that all started with my design business. Like it all started with me saying yes to design. Like we talked about how I went to school to, you know, for early elementary education and got a degree and my master's and all that. And then I was a stay-at-home mom and then a caregiver. We lived overseas, and it wasn't until much later in life when I got remarried that I realized that I had this gift, and it all came from the tuning in. Like I found it because I started to tune in and started to slow down and started to honor my intuition and started to say yes to myself. And even though it felt scary and really vulnerable, that's how it started to develop.
So that's really good. And sometimes the roles that we take on and who we are to all the people, right, in our life, that's who we are. And sometimes people get stuck there. But you broke out of some of the roles and you did this. That's amazing. I love that because I think that speaks to a lot of people that could be at a stage right now where this isn't really what they want to do until retirement, right? But it's comfortable and they don't want to get out of their comfortable zone, or it's somewhat uncomfortable, right? Because they know that there's better and they're like, oh, well, if I just give it 10 more years, like I can just retire at this age. But they're not truly happy. And the Joy with Julie podcast, the whole point of me doing this is to let people know that you can live a complete life of joy. You can have happiness all the time. And it's in our mindset. It's in the way we talk to ourselves. It's in the actions and things that we do all the time. You know, it's summer, so I went away for a few weeks. I went on this great trip to Europe to celebrate my birthday. But getting back into routine, right? Like I realized the other day, like I had to call my kickboxing instructor and get like the summer schedule because I realized like my body felt out of sync and I need to get back to what I know works for me, right? So it's fun to have like fluidity in the summer and be outside and do the different things. But I know that I'm feeling a need to get back to a routine too, you know? So some of the things that I do to make sure that I stay happy is I have a balance, right? So I'm out in nature. I do walks with my dog. I do walk and talks with friends so that I can catch up that way instead of being on the phone, like we meet up in person. Right? And then kickboxing is one of the big releases so that I'm not anxious. Like that punching and kicking and that physicalness, the movement, like that works for me. And then on a different end, like I'll just crank the music, whether in my car, in my kitchen, and dance and move. And that really brings me joy. And the other night when our leader, Alysha, you know, in that women's circle, when she did the music, it reminded me, oh, that's equivalent in my everyday life to when I'm driving somewhere and I have a long drive, I crank up the music and I just sing. And I don't care because no one hears me.
Totally.
Right?
I mean, we're meant to sing. Like, you know, when you think about it, like that sound waves like create this frequency that then creates like, you know, that like then there's words that we add to it and all of these different instruments that like that is in and of itself is like so incredibly amazing. And the fact that we have it at our disposal, like I always like to say, we're too good like for this gift of music because music is like so good, you know, there's like music and like, and I feel like as time goes on, I'm realizing that like movement is something that really helps me to feel the freedom, but also to release anxiety. And we don't have to like go to the club to go dance, you know? You can dance in your kitchen. You can turn on the music. Like my kids think I'm crazy because I'm always like, hey, dance with me, you know? And I'm like, you guys never want to have a dance party. I actually had something that's called a rave. I really wanted to go to a rave, but I was like, I'm a mom. I can't go to a rave. So I told my kids that I was going to do a lame rave and I called it a rame. And I went to the dollar store and I got like all kinds of like glow sticks and candy and all kinds of stuff. And I sent them an invitation vacation.
That
And I
is
was
so
like, be
cool.
ready to party. And when they got home and they walked into the kitchen, like the music was on, like we had made the playlist. There was even like SpongeBob on the playlist for crying out loud.
Funny.
It was like everything. And then we just danced and had so much fun. And like we made these like sparkly drinks with like this glitter simple syrup and
Oh my
stuff.
gosh.
And it was just like, we have to romanticize our lives.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we have to enjoy life. Like no one's going to do it for us. If you're not doing it for you and you're not like an active participant, right? Like that main character energy, get out there and do it. Like no one's going to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to fulfill you. Nothing in this life is going to be absolutely perfect. Right? And so it's up to us.
So your dance party at your house with the invitations and letting your kids play the music they wanted, even including SpongeBob, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
One of my kiddos would totally do that. So I feel like you remind me, because I was an elementary school teacher for so long, kids just want to play, and as adults we forget to play.
Totally. And that was something that like over time, I do feel like I'm a very playful mom, and I do feel like that's something that like even with my kids' friends, like they see that, and I appreciate that a lot. Like we've been, we go roller skating and they're like, hey mom, you want to go roller skating? Especially my daughter. And so like I take their friends roller skating and we go roller skating, and it's really fun and it's such a great release. But it is so important to play, and it's important to be around people who accept that version of you, because not everyone feels comfortable with that, right? Not everyone feels comfortable with being silly or making jokes or, laughing till their stomach hurts. And sometimes it takes a while to like break through that in a friendship to like get to that comfort level where you feel like you have that.
But those are the people you gravitate toward.
Totally.
As well, because people are too serious. They're too worried about all the grown-up things, and they forget that we do need to laugh, we need to play. And being around kids sometimes brings that out, or the grown-ups that can act like kids and like tap into their fun energy, right?
Right, but we can't do that all the time. But like it's like, how can we welcome that when we need it? Because also I think it like promotes healing. It's like not only is it grounding, but it's like we don't need to be taking ourselves too seriously. This life is already serious enough, right?
Yeah. So you're roller skating, you just totally, I forgot about roller skating. But if you think about the things that we know, roller skating is a form of exercise and movement, and it's to music. Usually when you go to an indoor rink, they're blasting music, and that's also part of what makes it fun, right?
Totally. I don't know if you know this about me, but during the pandemic, I convinced my ex-husband. So we had polished concrete floors in our living room and dining room, and I convinced him to empty out the living room and dining room. We turned it into a skating rink because we were trying to find things to do. So for like 2 months, we had a skating rink in our living room and dining room, and I had not roller skated since I was a kid. And so like coming back to that, because like roller skating was like one of my things that I did all the time.
Yeah, I definitely did that as a teenager a lot.
And so I even like roller skated around town when I was young. Like that, I was always on roller skates. So for me, it was kind of like this coming home, but introducing to my kids to it when like we didn't really live super close to a roller skating rink. Now I live 3 miles away from a roller skating rink, but just totally like a God thing. Like I did not choose that, but it just happened for me. But that was like such a core memory for my kids and for me, and like people were like coming over to roller skate in my living room.
That's incredible.
It was so great.
That must have been so much fun and so much joy during a time where
when things were anxiety provoking and so I loved it so much.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So good. You really are that fun mom.
I try. Yeah. We do. We have a lot of fun. We went to Rockefeller Center actually like a couple of years ago because they turned Rockefeller, like the ice skating rink into a roller skating rink. It's called the Boogie Palace. As you can tell, I am kind of obsessed with roller skating. I do love it because I feel like it like helps me reconnect with, it's just like a way that I feel like I can be fully free. That's
awesome. Yeah.
And so I just love it so much. So we went to the Boogie Palace at Rockefeller Center and went roller skating. It was so fun.
So the place, you're making me think, the place I can be totally free is in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I went to Newport. We're at the beach all day. It was the earliest I've ever been to the beach. My friend picked me up on Saturday, and it was the most amazing weather. The water was warm. There was no red tide. Clear water. The powdery sand, like all the perfect things. And the waves were not super wild. They were like in the middle, right?
Nice.
So we were boogie boarding, but then we were chatting, and there was some friends. And honestly, like what you were just explaining about how the roller skating makes you free and makes you feel good, that's what the ocean does for me. It gives me a total like brain reset.
Yeah.
And nervous system reset.
Yeah, and I think it's so important that as adults we give ourselves space to discover that, to rediscover that, because we might not remember what it is, like what that thing is that does that for us. And so it's like kind of like an investigation and a gift that you give yourself to take the time to do that. You know, that was kind of like what design did for me, was it totally and completely just helped me to show up as like the most authentic version of myself, but also from a standpoint of play, right? Because I incorporate like some really funky pieces. Like I'm always looking for something that's unique and intriguing, but also everything lights my soul on fire. Like everything is exciting, especially when it comes to like creating spaces for people and then watching them receive it and witnessing that and how it supports them in their daily endeavors. That is like the ultimate gift. And so, you know, like for example, a couple of years ago, I went to the market in Dallas with my assistant, and we had so much fun just going like through these different showrooms and just like literally being like enveloped with like the beauty and the goodness and like all of the like beautiful aesthetic of like all of these designers who had created beautiful things. And it's like, it's such a high for me to see that, to experience it. And so like, that's why I've collected so many pieces in my studio that tell different stories and are from like different places and have lived all of these different lives, because it's so interesting to me. And then when I sell them, I get to tell people or like infuse them into someone's home. I get to tell them the story of this piece.
Wow.
Either how I found it or who had it before me and like, or how it was constructed. And it's like,
That's
you know,
neat.
it's really...
So there's more meaning behind the item, and it's not just an object you're buying at like a typical store.
Totally. I mean, there are some pieces, obviously, that we have that we've sourced in bulk, but for the most part, it's all like hand-selected by me because it resonates with me and because it has a story.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
And that actually, that makes sense for like when you think about what you're bringing into your house, to make meaningful choices, right? Instead of just buying stuff that you get rid of in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
right?
we have been, and we've definitely been conditioned to like collect things en masse, and that like things just don't mean as much as they once did, which is why I love being able to also like take a client's heirloom piece and either give it a new life or paint it or repurpose it in some way or move it in the space so that they can see a new way that they can integrate it. And that it's not just like this old piece that they've just been like, I'm not sure why I like it. No, you love it because it's meaningful to you. And so if we can do, like if we can weave it into the design, then that's what we're going to do. And so I love being able to show them that their pieces and that the emotional connection that they have with the pieces that they currently have, that's meaningful and has value.
Yeah, you're really making me think of things. That's cool. And I know a friend of mine went to your, was it called a shelf redesign or a shelf
styling class? Yeah.
Shelf styling, okay.
Yeah.
And the one takeaway I had from her telling me about it is she was about to donate some things, and then she was like, oh no, when she looked at her mantle and she thought about what she wanted, she actually brought in a couple things and she repurposed the way that it looked, and she said that your class was really meaningful, and she was so happy because instead of continuously to buy stuff, she could use things in her house.
Yeah, you can use things that you have. And so like that's part of it, is like that creative piece of like making sure that we, like that is also a form of play, right? Like if we're thinking about like adult play or creativity in general, like shelf styling is one of those things where I always liked, I was working with my new assistant, Kendall, yesterday, and I was like, it always looks worse before it gets better, you know? And so she's like, oh my God, like as it started to come together, she was like, you're so right. And I feel like people quit in that like where it feels hard and they convince themselves that they don't have what it takes.
Wow.
And so instead of just pushing forward and trusting their intuition, and that's one of the things that we teach in shelf styling is trusting your intuition, taking the time to step back, to assess, to say what feels off and try something new. And that's like this adult kind of version of play where it's not like it has it looks different, but it gives us the opportunity to experiment in our space, get creative with things, and it really is powerful and helps us come to know ourselves so much more.
That's great. Wow. Well, we've tapped on a lot of different things. I am so grateful you came. Like,
Yay.
creative types are really important in our world. And I think maybe even just with this quick talk and conversation, we can remind people to tap into their creativity. Mm-hmm. And if they feel like they're not creative, to hang out with some creative types.
Well, I always like to tell people who come into the store who are like, I don't have a creative bone in my body. I always tell them, you just hang out with me for a little while and I'll convince you that you're creative.
That's awesome.
Because that's just how it is. Like, we need more people that see it as being a strength instead of something that is not useful.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah, I'm so glad I came in.
And thanks to everyone for tuning in for Joy with Julie. We love you. Do what you can to keep up your vibe.